of styrofoam. This is 1.5 inches thick a piece. It was really one piece and we cut it in half. And the first thing we're going to do is sketch our design onto this foam. Now you don't want to use a pen or a pencil because that'll leave an impression in the foam. Instead, use a magic marker, because even the mistakes you make you can paint over. Alright, so here's what it looks like when it's all drawn. As you can see, I made a few errors here and there, but those will come out in the long run. The next step is to simply cut out the shape of your headstone using a jigsaw. Headstone to be thicker than the 1.5 inches, so we've got 2 pieces. We've cut out the first piece. Basically, all we have to do now is trace the first piece onto the second one and cut it out. Not much to that. Alright, so what we've done now is we've cut out the different layers of our tombstone. As you can see, I took this one, traced it here, cut it out. Then for dimension, I actually cut his wings off of here so they would kind of appear behind him. Then I had a little leftover, so I'm going to increase the size of the base just a little bit to give it a little more 3-dimension. Now the next step is to start working on the stone shape. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to replicate this using paint and painter's tape. So I'll take this painter's tape, put it over the RIP and any edges that I don't want textured, and then I'll use some regular old spray paint to spray the stone or the foam to give it a stone look. So that's our next step. Alright, now the next step actually could have been before taping this, but I was excited about the taping. So you can do them out of order if you want. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to install these PVCs between here and here so that we can later on put this in the ground and then just slide the tombstone over it so it holds it up. And I'll show you that later when we do it. So the next step then would be to create grooves in this to fit the PVC. So basically what you do is you take your PVC and you trace it. And then you take a welding iron for a use that was never meant for a welding iron. Make sure you're in a ventilated area because this stinks, but basically it just melts away a groove. You want to zoom in on this? So you're going to do that a couple of times. All the way to the bottom. Try not to make the groove too deep. As you can imagine, you want it about half this depth. So what is that, about a 3/4 of an inch? Getting the middle part out is a little trickier. And again, you can see all this smoke, that's foam burning, and it does not smell nice. Probably should have a mask over my face. So if you're prone to allergies or asthma, you might want to do that. Alright, so we've got our channels built, and the PVCs fit in there about halfway down. If they're not deep enough, you can always just grab the torch and clean out the spots where it's a little high in the middle. Now you want to make sure that it matches up over here, right? And my first inclination is just to measure and then draw it on here, but I found that it's easier. Just line it up where it goes and press. Be sure to apply even pressure so you don't break the foam. And then, you probably can't see this, but I can. You can definitely see where the lines are, so that you can just simply do the same thing again and have a perfectly matched channel. Okay, we've got our grooves. We've got our PVC in there. Next step, pretty simple. Glue it all together. Be careful what you use, because some glues will eat away the styrofoam. I'm just using standard caulk, because it works pretty good. Don't be afraid to use too much, especially here in the grooves. I've glued the two pieces of styrofoam together and laid heavy pieces of wood on them until it dries. One of the things that you can do while you're waiting for your headstone to glue or the glue to dry is to prepare your rebar. And we've got these PVC pipes in here, so put your rebar in there as far as it'll go, and then give yourself 6 or 7 inches or so. Mark that. This is the part that'll go into the ground. If your ground is rocky like mine, obviously you don't want it this long or it'll never go in all the way. And then you'll want to cut that off.